so much for tuning in to the Cavmont Smart Money Show. Good morning, Jill.
Morning. How are you guys today?
Good. How are you?
Good. Thanks. Today is World Savings Day.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Today's World
So-
Savings Day.
Today.
Yes,
it's
it is.
So
today.
yesterday, the guys came in.
Yeah.
I was wondering a little bit.
Yeah.
Because
We were preparing for today. It
How
was like
are
a
you
drum
doing?
roll.
So about that.
Yeah.
So your greatest bank in Zambia shall be exhibiting and teaching you more about how to save. Do you know what this means for us guys?
Okay.
No.
That today is actually like, I think, is it the second or third anniversary of the Smart Money Show? It's the third.
Yeah, it should be that.
Yeah,
because
yeah,
it
it's the third.
started from World Savings Day.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's why I'm saying.
We
Where
are
were you on
old
that
day.
day?
I know.
Where was she on
No,
that
I
day?
didn't.
No, where were
I didn't
you
keep the
on
date.
that?
I didn't keep the date.
Forget it. Forget it. All right. So we'd like to also welcome all our viewers on Facebook. So welcome to today's Smart Money Show. And you know what we're going to talk about today, which I think is totally appropriate for World Savings Day, is, we've talked about before about having an emergency fund, but I think today we need to just look at why. What are the reasons behind having an emergency fund and what's really important about it? For some reason, the other day I was on the radio. I was listening to the radio.
Yeah.
And I heard somebody talking about how, no, it was yesterday's show.
It was yesterday's
yeah,
show. Right.
where, who came? Was it
Doreen.
Doreen?
So there
yeah.
was Doreen,
Doreen
yeah.
from the pensions.
Yes.
She was saying how up to now, Zambians still are never ready for an emergency.
Exactly.
No matter what it is. And then Trumbo said even a funeral. Even sometimes, have you noticed, even when we know,
Yeah.
sadly, that this person is going to pass.
Exactly.
Or at some point, we are still never prepared for anything.
And then we start running around at the point of
Yeah, when we feel the
emergency.
pressure.
or even if it's not a
Absolutely.
negative thing,
Yeah.
okay? But let's say even if you know you're getting married, someone has proposed, you're getting married in a year. Why 1 month before are you surprised that you need to pay for
Right.
So
Right.
exactly. So if you'd like to pipe in, please join us on our Facebook page and we'll see what everybody has to say. So basically, what are the things, if you had a truly dire emergency, okay, sometimes we can reach out to our family members or close friends who sort of could help, pull out some funds or something to sort of help with that situation at that moment,
Yeah.
right? But basically, you certainly wouldn't call them in a panic if you couldn't afford to, I don't know, say for example, enroll your kids in a swimming class that you want to, okay? You wouldn't call them if you want to take a vacation, or you wouldn't call them if all of a sudden your insurance jumped by whatever percentage from the previous year, or you had a small fender bender with your car and you've got to get it fixed and you can't do it through the insurance.
Yeah.
You wouldn't necessarily call them for that. Those are what we call sort of unplanned expenses, all right?
Right.
But first I want to tell everybody what the difference is between financial emergencies versus unplanned expenses, okay? There's quite a big difference between these two.
Okay.
Unplanned and the unplanned expenses, they're sort of a part of everyday life, okay?
Right.
And simply having sort of a buffer for non-monthly expenses that can pop up at any time is more of an emergency. So let me give you an example. So unplanned expenses, you planned that your car insurance is 3,000 kwacha a year.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
And all of a sudden you go there and they tell you, actually no, we've increased the premiums and it's now 3,600.
Oh, right.
Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You did
Yeah.
plan to pay your insurance, but you
But
did
then
not
that was
necessarily
that.
You didn't
that you
plan
didn't
for
foresee
the
Yeah.
600
Yeah,
kwacha
yeah, yeah.
difference, right?
Yeah.
So that's an unplanned expense. That's where you might go to a friend and say, oh, you know what? I didn't think my insurance was going to cost this much. Can you, loan me 600 kwacha as a buffer, and then I can get back to you next month or whatever.
Right.
Okay.
An emergency would be, for example, that same car, you get hit,
Right.
and then or you hit
That is an
something,
emergency.
and the insurance company says no because of ABCD. We're not gonna cover you for this.
Yeah.
And you need your car for work or for your business. Oh well, that's also work. You know what I mean? And then you're like, I have to get a new car.
And
that,
taking children to school.
whatever it is, that is need for an emergency fund.
Okay.
Okay.
Cool.
And generally, unplanned expenses are not major. Generally.
Okay.
Because you've always planned for something of the nature. You didn't maybe just plan how much. Another quick
Oh.
example. You get, like when we were growing up, there you'd be like random visitors.
Yeah.
Were your houses like?
Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, but I mean that was common, kind of, in our
No. But what I
Zambian
mean,
context
yeah.
and everything.
But my point is that let's say you have a family of 4,
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
and you buy
And you-
groceries for that family
the
of
4.
4,
Yes.
maybe even one other person. Now,
The village visits you.
And they
And
come
they didn't even
with a
tell
child,
you. They
with
didn't
2
even
children.
well,
tell
yeah,
you.
that's what I mean. And it's not like just one person has come.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They
they come
come
with 2
with 2
children,
of their children,
and then other
yeah.
people have visited. So now your grocery bill has doubled.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's an unplanned expense because
True.
I did plan my grocery money, which my
Yeah.
family and I have every month and we use, and it's fine.
Yeah.
But now here comes Katundu.
3 extra people.
This
yeah.
is the
Right.
thing.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah.
these are some of the things where you were ready for it, but it probably was more than you expected.
Exactly.
Hence, it becomes a bit more of an unplanned cost. Okay.
Okay.
So, for example, let me give you something else. Let's say your friends decide to take an impromptu road trip to, where do we go in Zambia?
Siavong.
Siavonga, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So we go to Siavonga or something like that, right? And they say, okay, let's go. Now, what should have happened is that's supposed to come out of your budget of entertainment and leisure.
Right.
That shouldn't be, that's not an emergency.
Right.
It's not.
It has to be budgeted for.
But it's not.
I mean, Cholo, do you know these things of leisure, Shanshan? Those
Yeah.
kinds of budgets. I'm just asking if she knows, or it's strictly groceries
He's just
and
reflecting
fuel and stuff like that. I'm not reflecting on
And power.
and power.
Aye,
Yeah.
yeah.
Not at the holiday.
Power.
On the Shan.
No.
on the beaches of Siavonga. All right.
It's not part of the budget.
No, but those are
But
things,
it has
and
to
you
be,
know what?
right?
And I think people need to understand that that is not an emergency, but we think it's an emergency.
Mm.
A want is not an emergency. A
Okay.
need is an emergency.
Right.
If I don't fix my car, I can't get to the kids to school. I can't get to work. Maybe what if I'm a taxi driver and that is my livelihood? I can't make money for my family. That is an emergency. Okay.
Yeah.
If
Yeah.
mom gets sick, and we didn't know that the bills would cost this much. That is an emergency because we're trying to keep her okay. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right.
But going to see Avonga with friends on an impromptu trip that wasn't even planned for, that
That's
is not an
not.
emergency. All right. That's just you trying to have some fun. All right.
Exactly.
So an emergency is something that could derail your finances completely or materially change your financial trajectory in life. Okay. So it's going to change. If this was my plan, it just messes us up a little bit.
Exactly.
You know, a
Yeah.
real financial emergency, we often take time to recover. We could take a couple of months, sometimes even take years.
Yes.
Depending
Yeah.
on,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah,
it's
that's
true.
depending
I
on
mean,
the
depending on what it
That's
is.
true.
I'll give you an
situation.
example. I have a friend somewhere, and what happened is one of her sisters, they were in a very bad car accident, and her sister could no longer, she wasn't mobile anymore, she couldn't work, she couldn't do anything. Now, luckily, the bills were paid for the hospital, but now there was no one to take care of the sister's kids. So my friend has had to take on that extra responsibility, but it was very unplanned because it came with a lot of costs. And when it did that, it's taking her years to actually sort of make it normal and then recover from that because she was not ever financially prepared for that. Yeah, but it's something she had to. It was an emergency. She had to do it, right? So basically, financial emergencies tend to be out of your control as well. Okay, losing your job is another great example of a financial emergency.
Oh, yeah.
As I mentioned, becoming disabled through injury or illness is another sort of financial emergency. A series of, let's say, irregular large expenses piling up can also qualify as a financial emergency. So why should financial funds be so big? All right. So when an emergency strikes, no one asks that question. No, we never say, how much is this really going to cost us? Okay.
Yeah.
We sort of live in that moment day by day, right? And so when you're reading, there's a whole bunch of articles that suggest that you should set aside enough money to cover you for 3 to 6 months of living. That is a good emergency fund.
Okay.
Wow.
And you
Okay.
only you know what 3 to 6 months of living means. Okay, for everybody it's very different. And the idea is that if I don't have a job for 6 months,
I could continue,
Yes.
with
Yeah.
a relatively reasonable lifestyle.
yes,
Exactly.
exactly. And generally we find that people in formal employment tend to take about 3 to 6 months to find a new job. This is not for everybody. I'm just saying
of
this
course.
is sort of generalization. So if you have enough funds to last you for 6 months, great. Even better for a year.
Okay.
Right.
That sounds good.
Okay.
And you
Alright.
know what? It just gives you peace of mind.
Yeah.
It
That in
does.
case anything happened, I am okay. And I can look for a job properly, you know?
Or take care of whoever I need, whatever or whoever I need to
Right.
take care of
Right.
without stressing out, right?
Okay.
Okay. So, yeah, now I know that sometimes somebody out there saying, oh my gosh, Chill, you're nuts. 3 to 6 months, it's very daunting, that idea, right?
It sounds like a lot of money.
It could be.
Yeah.
It
is.
does.
Somebody did give an example, and this was just an example. They say that, listen, if you were maybe about to save 25% of what
You earn.
you earn in 4 months, is it 4 months? You will have a total of what your salary is. you know.
Right.
So that means if you
That was
do
from
the
the Smart
math,
Money Show, Dario.
if you do the math, because I remember
I feel
and
like
I
we had
don't
this
want to take,
conversation,
I don't
yes.
want to take it away from the smart money, so I'll leave it at that.
Yes.
yeah.
No, if you do the math,
But
yeah.
then, if you do the math, it will take you about
4 months to make-
to make
a month's salary.
yeah that amount of money.
So in
that
a
you were
year,
saying.
in a year, I could have
Yes.
more than 3 months.
This is the
Exactly.
thing.
Yeah.
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 So if you start from the beginning, from the day you have any sort of money,
Yeah.
even better. Because another thing, let me tell you, remember, and one of the things I think if we look close to home, once upon a time it would be like, if the breadwinner of the family dies, that's it. No one goes to school.
Exactly.
And
Everything
everybody's,
else is
And those
just-
are
Yes.
real life stories.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So now imagine if that breadwinner used to put aside, like you said, 25% of his or her salary, okay? And should anything happen, we never know what's going to happen tomorrow, okay?
Yeah.
Should anything happen, whether they pass or whether they just can't work anymore or they lose their job, whatever it is, then you're like, at least someone's life can continue. And now imagine if that person has been doing that from day one and then they're working for 20 years, okay? And then something happens, but you still got your last born to go to university. Then there's still no problem. At least the kids can go to school,
Right.
as opposed to now everybody's life sort of just comes to a standstill. That's what we're trying to avoid.
Can we take a quick break, Chill?
Sure.
And then, I'll return. Obviously, we'll also just interact a little bit with those that are live on Facebook
Sounds good.
with us. This is the Cavmont Smart Money Show. We'll be right back.
All right, so Theo Williams Simfukwe says, my first time watching live, I just listened on radio. Okay. I
Nice.
thought Ingrid is white. I'm not Ingrid!
Oh, so he thinks you're Ingrid.
Well,
Or she thinks
unless,
you're Ingrid.
yeah,
Yeah, I'm sure, I'm sure.
From the way she speaks.
Yeah, that's meant for you.
Yeah,
That
she
is
definitely-
Dario, your voice does not
Match.
your body.
Come on. Chill.
Why do I feel like I've seen this message before?
I feel like it
Cholwe,
matches
looking
my
nice.
body.
I enjoy this. You know what is my pet peeve being a communications person is when people type things like this show. I enjoy this show daily. I'm loving Cavmont back. We're loving you too, Theo William, even though your
I mean,
Kazungu threw me
talk-
off there
talk
for a
about-
moment.
talk
Marlise is online. Marlise,
Oh, yeah.
hello. Nice to see you. Marlise is from our
Our boss.
sister.
Yes.
She's our
Yeah,
boss
she's
from
our
our
boss.
sister company in Windhoek. Yes. Our sister bank.
cool.
Yeah.
7:50 is the time here on Radio Christian Voice, and this is the Smart Money Show. Just in case you're just tuning in, welcome on board. You've missed out on a lot,
But it's okay.
but it's okay.
And it is what?
No, it's not
Savings
really
Day
okay,
It's
today.
not okay.
Yeah,
And then
but
we
we'll
are live
try
on Facebook, so you can always try to catch us on the live show on
case you
on
miss
Facebook in case
anything.
you miss anything.
Yeah.
All right. So guys, we don't have too much time, but I wanted to. There's something I thought was very important for us to talk about. What I want everyone to understand is why we need to have a plan, okay, of a relatively large amount. And large is relative, all right, to everybody. To somebody having a large savings could be 2,000 kwacha. To somebody else, having a large savings is 20. To somebody else, having a large savings is 200,000. I don't want you to get bogged down on the number, okay, because it's all relative about what it means to you, all right? So what you need to do is think about stimulating an emergency with your finances. What would you do to get that emergency fund going, all right? And how long would you be able to maintain your lifestyle without triggering a nuclear explosion, okay? Like selling your house,
Right.
moving back home, you know, selling your car, removing the kids from the school they go to. I mean, everybody's thing is very different, all right? Having to change jobs, all of those things, depending on your life, could be a nuclear explosion. So it's like, what is it you have to do to make sure you don't have to get to that point? All right?
And give away your kids.
Exactly. So I'm
Give
gonna
away
just,
your kids, really?
Someone can have mine.
Chill.
No. Yeah. Even today, this morning was just hectic, and I was thinking, how did I end up in this situation? Okay. I love my children,
Of
but
course you
sometimes someone can have and I have an emergency fund for them, so you can have them with the fund.
I could take over.
I don't.
There's the fun.
I don't.
part of
You
it.
see,
Yeah,
you're
there's
just
the
that.
fun, so
You're like that
like, I'm
uncle that just
sorted.
gets you for the money. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
But it's like, what's up with the kids? I don't know those kids. Yeah. All right. So guys, if you walked into work tomorrow, okay, and got laid off, okay, so you walked to. Especially you who've been asking for raises, right?
Yeah.
So you
My
walk
boss is
into
listening.
oh, this poor boss. You walk into the station
like,
tomorrow
oh, yeah.
and you get laid off. How many months do you think you could realistically take to find a new job? Real question.
How many?
Yeah,
months?
how many months to find it, to replace your job?
To replace. I mean, I hope I'm good at what I do and that people listen.
How
And-
long do
and
you
like
think it's
they'll-
gonna take, though?
You know, hopefully within a month.
You think so?
Yeah, hopefully,
Yeah,
I'm
you're
saying
confident.
hopefully. You know, within
Throw
a
away,
month.
realistic.
3 to 6 months.
Yeah.
3 to 6
I'm
There
just
you
I'm
go.
going by her numbers.
So,
Hopefully.
or let's say you became disabled, hopefully, even if, and at some point, even if you have insurance, that insurance runs out. Huh?
Exactly,
And that's
yeah.
the challenge. Or you became severely ill, and maybe it's something that didn't enable you to go to work anymore. And the and then remember, you lose that job. That insurance provided by your employer also goes with the job, right? So then, you can't be like, oh, I'll just live off my insurance. What insurance? But benefits so there are some benefits that do kick in sometimes when you move. So now the emergency fund can also bridge the gap between of those 3 months. Those 3 months of either getting a new job, those 3 months of your benefits sort of fizzling out. Okay, those 3 months of whatever, going into a new sort of, not even necessarily a job, but sometimes a job loss can be an opportunity. That's another story. But sometimes, so that 3 months of you going into something new. So that emergency fund is not necessarily to take care of you for the rest of your life, okay? It's like to buff until you get yourself back into a situation financially that you were before you got into that trouble.
Situation.
Yeah. Okay. So basically, the answer is just how big your emergency fund should be will depend on a few factors, all right? So perhaps you want to think a bit practical about the industry that you're in, all right? So in bad times, sometimes depending on the industry, bad times might last a lot longer than 3 months. Let's
Yeah.
talk about our friends who are in like agriculture industry. If there's a drought and there's a massive agricultural company that lays off people, very much doubt that you're going to go to the next company just like that because they're probably doing the same thing. Okay, but maybe when rain starts coming and now it's harvest time or planting time, then it's much easier to get a job. So sometimes you've got to think 3 to 6 months might be realistic for Dario, who's in the sort of what are you, in the media industry? What are you, like in the entertainment industry, in the radio, in a disc jockey industry? I'm still going.
DJ, no.
No, well,
Let's play somewhere
yeah,
else.
God be with us. So yeah, but maybe that might be a bit different. But if I work in the agriculture industry, it might be harder.
It might
because
be, yeah.
it's seasonal. Is it time? So before we go off, I want you to consider just a couple of rules of thumb. The other thing is, if you are the sole income earner in the household, that is a major consideration because you have to think about how many people are being affected by this, okay? And then what rules of thumb offer a good starting point? So, for example, how much can you live off bare minimum without changing everybody's life? That could be your aim of how much I'm going to save, all right?
Right.
Save first, ask questions later. Saving up a lot of money takes time. the best thing you can do is start. Stop worrying about how much I'm going to put aside. If you say, I've got this extra 200 kwacha, please go to Cavmont Bank and deposit that in your extra capital account. Please, okay? You've got an extra 1,000 kwacha, go do the same thing. You've got some kids, go and deposit in their Tikula account. It does not matter how much it is, okay? Saving up takes time and dedication, and you just have to put it. I don't care if you're coming daily to Cavmont. It doesn't matter. If you're coming daily, you're tagging in, you're doing whatever you've got to do, making your deposits daily. If you can't hold your money until the end of the month, my friend, just come every day and make your deposit every day. I've seen people get caught up. Sometimes you can compare rates, and remember, at a bank like Cavmont, the more you save, the higher your rate goes. So we're paying you to save your money, okay? So bring your money and sort of, get it done. One of the things that's very important is that the younger your children are, start talking to them about savings and even emergency funds from an early age, so that it's something that's normal. One of the things I've realized culturally and living in other countries is our friends in other countries, they tend to really save.
Okay.
Like a lot. And by the time that you find that they're going to university or finishing university, they have a pot of savings.
Right.
It's rare to have absolutely nothing for somebody who has a formal job.
Yeah, and we were talking about this yesterday with Kwambo in terms, I think she referred to the Imitikula account and talking about her children and just teaching them the habit of saving as well. So very important.
The worst thing is to feel like you've got to go and sort of beg someone to help you in a bad situation. And you know what? Everyone has problems.
That's right.
So for how long are you going to be asking someone to keep helping you because your car broke down and this happened? And eventually people also get tired of helping, because they want to see that this person is also doing something for themselves.
Cool. Right.
Yeah. Cool. So come to our Facebook page, Cavmont Bank, Twitter, at Cavmont Bank. And then guess what, everybody? We are definitely on YouTube, okay? We are on YouTube. So we're going to have a nice big splash for YouTube. But yes, check us out on YouTube, Facebook. Then also, you can just call us. Okay, on 3333. That's on Airtel and MTN, or 0800 100 3333. I want everybody to come visit us today. You know what? It's time for us to sort of take charge of our finances as individuals and as a nation, because otherwise we'll always just be like, please, can I have some? And it's time to stop.
All right. Okay, so this has been the Smart Money Show, and we're looking at savings on World Savings Day. We head to the top of the hour. We are so grateful that you joined us today. So stay tuned to Radio Christian Voice. You like that?
I like that. Don't forget to open your bank account at Cavmont Bank. I like that. Radio
comes on.
Christian Voice. You know what, dear? I think you should record that.
I should.
You should record that, and then you should just be like, we're at radio. And then when you have kids, let's say you're busy, you'll just put your first recording and go, Daddy's home, everybody.
How are you today?
All right, everybody, thank you for joining us so much on the Cavmont Smart Money Show today. This day was our first episode. Don't forget to tune in next week as we bring you more exciting financial literacy information, news. And let us know what you want to talk about. We want to talk about real things here on the Smart Money Show. And we have been talking about real things. This is why we decided to also take it to TV, because we think we need to we're doing our part. Cavmont Bank is doing their part, our part about spreading the financial message, but also these tips work. Like, I personally use them. I do the research. These are not necessarily my tips. And, if we get them from somewhere, we give kudos to that person. But what is important is that we're all in control of our finances.
That's right.
Or when we're not, we understand why we're not, and then we see what can we do next time. So thanks again for tuning in. We shall see you next week on the Cavmont Smart Money Show. Take it easy, everybody.
Goodbye.